Hey everyone, welcome to my beautiful unschool life. My name is Erin. In my last video, I talked about the mess that is unschooling and how I cope with the anxiety that I get from my children's mess. But in this video, I want to sort of flip that on its head, and I want you to consider the anxiety that we give to our children. Ew. For me, the time when this is most apparent is when it comes to being late. I never want to be late. I have a real issue with staying on schedule. I would almost describe it as I am a prisoner to time. Now here in Africa, they move at a different speed. I've heard of it before, and now I'm witnessing it firsthand. Africa time, which is not the same as North American time. North American time, if something's supposed to happen at 1, it's supposed to happen at 1. Sometimes it happens a few minutes before 1, maybe 5 or 10 minutes after 1 in a push. This past weekend we took another road trip. We drove a good chunk of the way across Uganda to a place called Mount Elgon National Park to visit Sipi Falls. We left on Africa time, which is about 4 hours later than I thought we were going to leave. And we traveled on Africa time. So instead of a 4-hour trip, it was a 6-hour trip. And we arrived after dark at our hotel. So we had some dinner and sat around a campfire for a little bit. And we could tell that we were perched on the side of the mountain, but it wasn't until the next morning when the sun rose that we could see where we were. And it was an absolutely stunningly beautiful location. And the kids wanted to explore. They wanted to just run around and touch everything and climb on everything and look at everything. It's been quite healthy for the children, I find, moving on Africa time, because if it were me, I would say we need to have breakfast by 9 because we need to leave by 9:30. We need to do this and we need to do that and we need to do that. I would be constantly aware of the timeline. I would constantly be aware of the schedule. And I would be constantly pushing the children to stay on schedule, which must give them a lot of anxiety when they're in an awesome new place and they just want to learn about it and they want to explore it and they want to experiment with it. And I'm constantly pushing them on to the next thing. So we hired a local guide to take a 5-kilometer hike up the mountain to see some of the waterfalls and then back down the mountain. The hike started at this lovely little resort that had a creek running through it, and the children really just wanted to play in the creek. They're just in the moment. They're so in the moment. They're not interested in what things we're supposed to be seeing. They're interested in what we're seeing now. They're interested in this rock that used to be lava. They're interested in these tadpoles that are growing legs. They're interested in pushing sticks down the waterfall.
I almost got one.
You almost got one? But we had hired a guide and he had planned a hike. So we had to drag them away from this place that they were really enjoying so that we could go see some other places that they might also enjoy, but they didn't know for sure. So there was a lot of pushing on the trip. We really had to push the kids to keep walking up the hill, even when there's interesting things here. Even when they were tired and they didn't want to walk anymore. Even when they wanted to stop and have a snack. Are you gonna eat it?
And do I lose my way?
Oh, okay. Even when they wanted to sit down and just play with dirt. There are important lessons there too. There are lessons about, pushing through when you're tired and keeping going when you don't want to go anymore, and learning how strong you really are, and learning that you can keep walking even when you're far after you think that you can't keep walking. These are valuable lessons to learn, for sure. But there's also valuable lessons in just being in the moment and not worrying about what time we get back and how long it's taking us. Of course, the problem is kids are in the moment so much to the point that when they realize that they actually need something else, like food or a toilet or some water, it has to happen now. They're not really good at anticipating, you know, we have to keep walking because we don't have any food with us. In half an hour, we're going to be hungry.
Okay, come on, let's keep up. Catch up.
So we need to make sure that we're where there's food in half an hour. So it really is a trick of finding the balance between stopping and asking questions and answering their questions.
They burnt their tree into a rock.
And learning about the things that they are and enjoying the moment, and finding a balance between, you know, we need to eat at some point. When we got about 2/3 of the way up the mountain, we came to this swimming hole where there were all these local kids who were swimming and splashing and playing and jumping in some pools in the waterfall. And you'll notice that there is not a single adult present. It's just kids taking care of other kids, older kids carrying younger kids on their back. Nobody had swimsuits. It's this really magical reality that doesn't exist in North America anymore. This, you know, the children do their chores and then they just run off and they do what they want to. I had that in my childhood, but it's not something that's possible anymore. Just children going and just being free. And I really want that sort of freedom for my children. I am acutely aware of the dangers of swimming, the dangers of jumping into the rocks, the dangers of broken glass, the dangers of kidnappers and all those sorts of things, you know. And again, it's a fine balance, trying to find the line between allowing my children the freedom to explore and to develop their skills, but also being aware of the dangers, but not giving them anxiety, not transferring my anxiety about danger onto them. You know, I want them to be aware of it, but I don't want them to be scared.
Oh, guys, you're making me nervous.
So it's a really tricky thing as an unschooler to find the balance between safety and supervision and freedom and development. So we walked all the way to the top of the mountain and we checked out this very cool waterfall. We could have spent the whole day there, if I'm honest with you. Ideally to me, if I had the financial freedom to travel this way, I would like to spend a week there and just go every day and take some time, you know, spend a whole day at this waterfall, spend a whole day at that waterfall, spend a whole day in that cave, let the children play and explore and discover, spend a whole day looking for geodes in the rocks, spend a whole day collecting lava rocks and pumice rocks.
Oh, cool. You guys are good geode hunters.
We found some critters. Again, it's about trying not to pass my anxiety onto the kids. Trying not to pass my anxiety about holding a chameleon onto the kids. Trying not to pass my anxiety about leeches onto the kids. Trying to make sure that they get to have these experiences and they know to be cautious but not scared, to be aware but not anxious. It's a really tricky balance, I find, trying not to pass our anxiety onto the children. Thanks for hanging out with us.